Today, we are going to be talking about renewable energy resources. Last week, kind of as a review, we talked about non-renewable energy sources. Non-renewable energy sources are the sources that are used up faster than natural processes can replace them within a human timescale. So really what that means is that we are pumping fuel into our cars and dirt bikes and four-wheelers and jet skis and school buses faster than the earth can naturally make that oil. And with that, there are many negative effects and consequences. But some other non-renewable sources include natural gas, which you may use to heat your homes, coal, and then nuclear energy. But the main one that most of us use would be oil, or fuel oil might heat your house. And definitely it's put in cars and any of those toys you might have, like a four-wheeler, put in the school bus, into airplanes, etc. The negatives of non-renewable energy sources include that we humans are consuming means to use. We are using fossil fuels at such a rapid rate that we could eventually run out, which is a big uh-oh. Like, what are we going to do if there's not enough of those resources left to power our cars and heat our homes? What are we going to do? There are many negative consequences for the environment, such as pollution in the air. Many places around the world experience smog, which is really thick, kind of gray air that's harmful to breathe in, especially in China, where there are millions of people. And lots of factories and houses close together. There's lots of smog. They actually experience that in California as well. And that is produced by us burning fossil fuels or using them in our cars and homes and in factories, etc. Deforestation happens due to mining and clearing land to look for non-renewable energy resources. Deforestation means that we cut down trees. And that's a problem because trees breathe in carbon dioxide. They take it out of the air. And when we cut them down, there's no longer that way to remove the carbon dioxide in the air in that place. And carbon dioxide that is stored in the tree actually gets released. And by burning those fossil fuels or using them, this increases the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which is not good. Carbon dioxide in the atmosphere actually traps heat, and which is eventually leading to global warming. Okay, so non-renewable resources are those resources that will not replenish or be built up or be available again in our lifetime. Once I put that fuel in my car to get to school, that fuel gets used in my car's engine and I can never get it back. And for that fuel oil to be produced out in the ocean, which we talked about last time, it takes millions of years. So I will never see production of oil happening within my lifetime. So those are non-renewable energy sources. Today, kind of your goals by the end of this lesson is you're going to be able to explain the difference between a renewable resource, which we're talking about today, and then that non-renewable resource we just discussed. You are then going to be able to explain one benefit or one positive or something happy about using renewable resources. So those are your goals for the end of the lesson. So what is a renewable energy resource? Renewable energy resources come from natural processes that have been happening for billions of years and will continue to occur. So these are things that are constantly happening that are replenished every day. Our first example is solar energy. The word solar, the beginning of the word or the prefix sol means sun. So solar energy is energy from the sun. The sun is used and is starting to become more popular. There are many homes that have solar panels on them. If you've ever driven out towards Watertown, There's a house on the right before Philly Fuels that has lots of solar panels on the top of their roof. So they are using the sun's energy that happens every single day. It doesn't run out to power their home or maybe their garage. I'm not sure exactly what they use it for, but it does provide them energy. So south-facing windows are windows that face the south. They collect solar energy or energy from the sun, and this actually warms up or creates that energy. Even windows in your house that are just facing the south, those rooms are typically warmer than ones that are facing the north. Solar cells on the solar panels actively collects the sun's energy and they convert it to electricity. So solar panels can take in the sun's energy and then power your house to turn on your lights, to turn on your stove, etc. And solar energy really isn't usable on cloudy days or nights, so that is a negative effect of using solar power, but it does, for the most part, have many more benefits than that negative. So obviously, when it's cloudy out and the sun's not out as much, you're not going to get as much electricity. And during the night, when the sun goes down, you're not going to be collecting energy as well. But on nice, bright, sunny days, lots of electricity can be produced. So here's a photo of solar panels on the top of a roof. This person would have placed them on the roof on the south side of their house to collect the sun's energy. So all of these little squares, and I'll do this in red, all these little squares are those solar cells, and they collect that sun's energy and then transform it into electricity. Another type of renewable energy, or energy that's produced every day by nature, that is replenished every day, that we're not going to run out of, is using energy from wind on what's called a wind farm. So wind farms use windmills to generate electricity. The thing with a wind farm, the windmills, there's usually multiple windmills. When the wind blows, it then spins the turbine, and that turbine powers electricity. A couple negative aspects of wind is that few regions really have strong enough winds. They have many windmills along the St. Lawrence River. That's where it's quite windy, and also out in Lowville, if you've ever seen those. Wind is an unreliable energy source because wind doesn't always blow. So there are times where we could go a couple days without having strong winds, but on days where there's lots of strong winds, wind is a great power source of electricity. Another type of renewable energy resource, or a resource that constantly happens by nature that won't run out, is water energy, or energy coming from the flowing movement of water. The first type is hydroelectric energy. Hydro means water. Remember, like hydro flask, that's a type of water bottle. Hydroelectric energy is electricity generated from running water flowing over a dam, like the Hoover Dam. Naturally, water flows over a dam due to gravity, and they've been able to power this to electricity. And then the second type of water energy is tidal energy, which refers to the tides of the ocean. So the differences between your high and your low tides, every day at the beach, there's 2 high tides and 2 low tides. This can be used to turn turbines that then power electricity. So it's pretty neat. So we can use naturally moving water on the planet to provide electricity. Another type of renewable energy resource, or a resource that is created by nature that's constantly available, is geothermal energy. The word geo refers to earth, and thermal means heat. So this is energy that gets obtained from hot magma down deep in the earth, which is like a liquid rock, or even dry hot rocks inside the earth. So what happens is scientists drill down into the earth. Heat naturally rises, like in your house. If you have a wood stove down in the basement, around your wood stove is not going to be the only place that's warm. That heat will rise and heat up the rest of your house. So when they dig down into the earth to then pull that heat up, that heat naturally rises through the core that they drilled down into, and this can be used. They actually use geothermal energy at St. Lawrence University in Canton. They have done that to provide a renewable resource. The earth is automatically producing heat, so they figured out a way to generate that and to use that. So here is a picture of wind turbines for wind energy. So once the wind blows, these turbines or these propellers then spin, and it generates electricity down through the windmill and then produces electricity. So these are connected to like a battery or something that then stores that electricity to then be used. Here is a picture of a dam. So water naturally will flow over the dam due to gravity. And within that dam, there's a system set up to then collect the energy and that electricity to then be used for other sources. So the sun, wind, water, and geothermal energy are considered inexhaustible energy resources. You're going to be asked a question on this on the Google form. Inexhaustible energy resources are resources that can never run out. So there will always be sunshine. I mean, some days are cloudy, but the sun is still in the sky. There is always going to be wind in different parts of the planet. Water is always going to be flowing, and the earth is always going to be creating heat. So these are inexhaustible because these resources can never run out. So these are sources that people and scientists are looking at to start powering homes and cars and businesses and factories, because they don't release those greenhouse gases or those carbon dioxide that then causes heat to be trapped and heat up the planet. So they're looking at these because they're clean sources of energy that are created naturally by the earth, that don't end up leading to pollution and global warming, etc. So there are ways to reduce that climate change or the heating up of the earth. There's one other type of renewable energy resource. Renewable, again, means that it's created by the earth and that it will never run out. It's replenished, and it's a safe and clean form of energy. This type of renewable energy resource does have some negative effects. This is called biomass energy. Bio means living, like biology. That's the study of living things. This is energy produced by burning organic, that means living, matter, such as wood, food scraps, and alcohol. So some of you may be thinking, oh yeah, I have a wood stove in my house or my hunting camp, or I have a friend or grandma or somebody that burns wood. You might not know people that burn food scraps or alcohol, but I'll explain what that means. So burning wood is really the most commonly used biomass fuel. Lots of people in Gouverneur and around the North Country burn wood to heat their homes or their camps. But there are quite a few problems. The biomass energy is not as clean as sun, wind, water, and geothermal. But it can lead to things like pollution. So when you burn wood, if you've ever noticed out a chimney, if you have a wood stove, you can see kind of black smoke. That leads to air pollution. And it also can disrupt natural habitats. A habitat is where a living creature lives. So when trees are cut down to then burn wood, you're destroying a habitat. So even if you're cutting 5 or 10 trees down in the woods behind your house and there's still hundreds of trees left, those trees are places where birds lived. Turkeys may have roosted there. Squirrels, raccoons, all different kinds of things would be disrupted. People that burn trash, there's lots of big power plants or factories that burn trash and garbage to generate electricity, which in a way is a good thing because we're not putting garbage in landfills or out on the side of the road, but it can lead to pollution, and toxic ash can be created in the atmosphere or the air surrounding us. A lot of the times you may hear that you're not supposed to burn garbage in your fire pit or a burn can. because it is quite toxic. These power plants have ways to reduce that amount of toxicity, but you're not supposed to burn garbage at your house because it is quite toxic. And lastly, corn is another type of biomass energy or energy that's coming from a living thing. Corn is a vegetable, a plant that is living. Corn, it can be distilled into an alcohol such as ethanol. But the problem with this is that it takes more energy to make it than what it produces or gives to you. So they've been looking at trying to use corn, which is one of the biggest crops in the United States. Corn is used for lots and lots of things. They've been trying to figure out a way to use corn to then produce energy. So, but the energy that it creates is not as much as it takes to make it. So that's been a problem scientists have been working on. So biomass energy, I've listed quite a few negatives from it. So why is it a renewable energy source? It's renewable since it can be replaced in a relatively short period of time. So remember, fuel oil that you put in your car or you use in your house to heat it, that takes millions of years to be made, when a tree can grow in 20 or 30 years. So it can grow in a lifetime. So that's why we consider wood, corn, and trash a biomass energy because it can be replaced within a short period of time. But it does have a lot of negative effects compared to energy from the sun, the wind, water, or inside the earth. So renewable versus non-renewable. So remember, one of your learning goals was to be able to define the difference. Renewable energy, we've got the solar energy, hydropower energy coming from water, geothermal coming from inside the earth, wind energy, and biomass energy. Those are all fairly clean sources of energy that are replenished naturally, that really will not run out. Non-renewable would be fossil fuels, burning coal, natural gas, and nuclear. These are not clean and take millions of years to form, which is not good because we could eventually run out. So at this point, you should now know the difference between renewable and non-renewable energy sources, and you should be able to tell me a positive of using a renewable energy source.